Peace. All praise and glory to the mighty Most High, the Spirit, the authority, the supreme, the all-knowing, the omnipotent, the eternal, the powerful, the source, the all, the almighty, the one, the one. Welcome. This is White Raptor News, as I told you. It's been a while since I've done a show. It's tough out here, man. We're in a world of demons, monsters, beasts, giants, Nephilim. This plane of existence is polluted with them. The stories of the Bible are false. Okay? They're allegories, they're metaphors. So, this isn't really too exciting of a chapter, Leviticus 15. It's mostly talking about unclean discharge. The previous chapter was talking about a woman when she's on her flow and she sits on anything or touches anything. Anyone who touches her bed will be unclean. They must wash their clothes and bathe with water, and they will be unclean until evening. Anyone that touches anything she sits on will be unclean. They must wash their clothes and bathe in water, and they will be unclean until evening. Whether it was the bed or anything she was sitting on, when anyone touches it, they will be unclean until evening. You know, it kind of like, to me, that kind of like demeanors a woman in something natural, a natural flow of something that she has no power over, unless she wants to go and have her insides ripped out. But she can't control that. Now, maybe in those days there, they didn't have tampons, they didn't have flow pads, easy flow pads, or any of that stuff like that. So that's possibly why they said that you'd be unclean. But if a woman today, they have the feminine products that they're needed, and then they have their undergarment, their underwear, their clothing. Unless blood is admitted and spilled and touched, then I don't really see the uncleanness. But I could back then, not so much today. We have things that help and aid women in that fashion. So just something to think of there. If a man has sexual relationships with her and her monthly flow touches him, he will be unclean for several days. Well, can somebody explain something to me? How can you have sexual relationships with a woman who's on her flow and it not touch him? That's kind of like an oxymoron. He will be unclean for 7 days. Any bed he lies on will also be unclean. Okay, when a woman has a discharge of blood for many days at a time other than the monthly period, or has a discharge beyond her monthly period, she will be unclean as long as she has the discharge. Just as in the days of her period, any bed she lies on while her discharge continues will be unclean, as is her bed during the monthly period. And anything she sits on will be unclean, as during her period. Anyone who touches them will be unclean. They must wash their clothes and bathe with water, and they will be unclean until evening. So, if being unclean till evening is all that matters and all you have to do is bathe, then this to me doesn't sound like much of a what I would say. It's not anything that you're going to burn eternally in hell for if you don't abide by a person being unclean. It's just simply telling you that during these periods of time that a woman on her flow is unclean. It's no big thing, man. It's no big thing, folks. Okay, anyone who touches them, they must wash their clothes and bathe with water, and they will be unclean until evening. When she is cleansed from her discharge, she must count 7 days, and after that she will be ceremonial clean. On the 8th day she must take 2 doves or 2 young pigeons and bring them to the priest at the tent of meeting. The priest is to sacrifice one for a sin offering, the other is a burnt offering. In this way he will make atonement. Again, atonement, folks, cannot be made by man. Only atonement can be made from the Spirit. Okay, I've been trying to explain to people for a long time that if this is the Supreme Spirit up here, okay, the Supreme Spirit, okay, and then he created here what we would call Elohim, okay, and Elohim are both good and evil, and this is what the Supreme uses here, okay, to correct the masses, which equals the soul, okay, a collective hive of people. No one can make atonement. None of these here can make atonement to the Supreme Spirit, because this is who we've offended up here by falling away. All these, good or evil, are all used. You understand that? These beings are entities, okay? Very powerful entities. And the Spirit here, who created good, he created evil first. You understand that? Why do I say that? Because in Genesis 1:1, it says, in the beginning. Okay? This is time. God created the heaven. This is space and earth. This is matter. Time, space, and matter. This is the very first parable of the Bible, right? Remember where it says in Revelations, where Jesus says that he's the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last? This is the beginning that Jesus is talking about right here. In the beginning here. Okay, I'm going to say something that's going to blow you away. In the beginning, God created the heaven and earth, time, space, and matter. Time here is made up of 60 seconds, 60 minutes, and 24 hours. 60 seconds and 60 minutes. Okay? 2 plus 4 equals 6. This is 666. So when Jesus says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the Alpha is and Omega are simply the Greek alphabet. Okay? That's what it means when Jesus says that I am the Alpha and the Omega. Well, that's kind of odd, huh? Because then this is being written from the Greeks. And we all know that Jesus is a Hebrew and that he was sent to a particular people. He was sent to a nation of people. He was sent to the Hebrew. Okay? So God created the heaven and earth, it's space. And then the earth here is matter. This here is centropy. Matter. All right? And the Supreme uses these here. Okay? These here that are created evil are the beast. All right. So none of these down here. Remember when the angel comes before uh, Joseph and he bows down? What does the angel say? The angel that works for the supreme spirit up here that was sent, these down here that are used of the supreme spirit up here was sent. And what does the one that's sent, this, if this is good, if this is a good angel that comes to Joseph and says, look it, the spirit is going to come upon you and you're going to bear a child and this child shall be called Emmanuel and stuff, this is a good spirit. All that is horsewash anyways. It's all garbage. If but you hear me out here, the spirit created good and evil, and these are entities, and it's these entities here. Okay, remember when it says God here in the beginning, God, this God here is Elohim, and what you got to understand is Elohim are plural of Eloah. God in this parable is 430 of the Strongs. Okay, and it means specifically Elohim. And Elohim means many gods, plural of many gods. Okay? So no one can make atonement here. None of these creations here. No Elohim at all can make atonement to the Supreme Spirit, because this is the one where everything fell from. Okay? Remember the saying, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. See, these Elohim, these are all what fell, whether good or evil, everything is fell, or the Supreme Creator created good Elohim because evil and good are they're intertwined with one another. Okay? We wouldn't know what was good until you're served a lot of shit. So you got to get served a lot of shit for your soul to start to realize that you're in a plane of existence where you're being taught from the Supreme Spirit up here, and he uses Elohim, mankind. You got to understand, Elohim are mankind. Elohim are right here, priests. Okay? In the beginning, God. This is 666. The Revelations, Jesus says, is I am the Omega, I am the Alpha, the Omega. I am the beginning. Okay, what is this? The beginning. This beginning. Here it is. This is beautiful stuff right here, man. Woo, woo. Genesis. Genesis is the beginning. Jesus is the beginning. Jesus is 666. In the beginning, 60 seconds, 60 minutes, 24 hours, 666. Genesis. I am the beginning and end. Everybody's going to tell you this. The beginning here is Genesis. The end here is Revelations. Because Jesus is in both books. You see, Revelations and Genesis are tied in with one another. That's the beginning and end. Okay? That's some brilliant information that I just shared with you right there. So when he says that he's the beginning and the end, he's talking about Genesis and Revelations. And then he says what else? He says after that, he says, I'm the first and the last. Jesus is the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning, the end, the first and the last. What's the first? The first is Genesis 1, 26, and 27. This is the first. This is the firstborn in Genesis 1, 26, and 27. Okay? So a priest cannot make atonement for you. We, in our souls, we have to go by everybody else and go back to the spirit where we came from. We have to ask this spirit here. Once we fall away from the spirit, we give up our spirit. The supreme spirit up here said to what he uses in the garden, which is mankind, because what? A man has to call out in the garden, Adam, where are you at? If it's omnipotent and it's all powerful and it's all knowing, then whatever it was that was calling out for Adam wouldn't have to ask where Adam was. He would know where Adam is. So everything is to the glory of the Spirit up here, the Supreme, who created mankind, both good and evil. The Spirit of the Creator, actually, let me retract that, okay? Because this is deeper than what people understand or think, okay? It's much deeper. So, Genesis 1:26 and 27 is talking about the one that's created here on the sixth day of creation. Okay, Revelations 13:18, everybody knows it here. It talks about a man that's a beast and his number is 666. I teach you here on this channel that number 666 is Jesus. I prove it all day long with the scriptures that Jesus is the image of the invisible God. He's the firstborn over all creation. Firstborn over all creation is this man that's created in an image of God. Image of God. Right? This one's created in an image of God, and the supreme God up here, this one here, this is the one that says, worship no graven image. See, this one here, the Supreme, gave this one here what was evil, permission. That's proven in Revelation 13:15. This here is the second beast, because the Revelation says the second beast, this one created in Genesis 1:26-27, was permitted. It was permitted to breathe into the image of the first beast. The first beast is Genesis. It's the first time it's mentioned in the Bible, folks. 1:25. You can't get away from it. This is the beast. God created the beast of the field. Genesis 1:25. God created the beasts of the field, each according to their kinds. Everybody here on this channel knows that that is the United Nations. The beast of the field is the United Nations that's created. All this is taking place on the sixth day of creation. No one can make atonement for you. Our souls fell from grace. The only way that our souls can get back in grace is to ask the one that we fell from if he'll forgive us, if he'll accept our repentance, so that we can rise back to a higher level of conscience. Because without this conscience that is on you, then you walk with scales on your eyes. And this is why Jesus said that you if the eye is dark, then how dark is the darkness that is in you, is what he's talking about. And when Jesus is talking about this, he's specifically talking about the pineal gland. Let's go ahead and finish this out, because I have a lot more that I want to cover here. Okay, so no one can make atonement for you, for her before the Lord, for the uncleanness of her discharge. Okay? If you have to come before something, then that can't be omnipotent. You see what I'm saying? Whatever the priest is making atonement for, the priest would never know that a woman was on her period unless she came to the priest and said, hey, I'm on my period. Oh, you're unclean? Well, bring us a couple doves. We'll do a burnt offering and a sin offering. And well, how can it be a sin offering? So basically they're saying for a woman, to be on her period is a sin? The natural order of life, she has absolutely nothing, no power over her flow, but yet it's a sin, and she was created that way. That's it's kind of wishy-washy right there. Okay? You must keep the Israelites from things that are unclean, so that they will not die in their uncleanness, for defiling my dwelling place, which is among them. So, if we're to say that this is among them, the Israelites, it's a dwelling place where the Spirit is going to live. Hold on. The Bible says that the heavens of heavens of heavens cannot contain the Supreme Spirit. I need you guys to understand that. The Supreme Spirit here is above everything, all right? It's spirit. This is all flesh. Whether it's good or evil, it's all flesh. It's a host system. Okay? This evil parasite here, this entity, you got to understand, these are spiritual bodies. Very powerful spiritual bodies are what these are. They're spiritual. Okay? And these spiritual beings were given permission. This one here, you see, gave evil permission to breathe into the image of the first beast, which is Genesis 1:25. Evil was permitted from the supreme being. This is why it says, let us. Evil is asking the supreme being, let us make mankind in our image and in our likeness, instead of a spiritual being. You see, this evil being wanted to create flesh suits, hosts, and turn us into slaves. And that's what he did. That's what he created us for. This one here created us to be the slaves. This is why Jesus says, give to Caesar what is his. Jesus is all on board with it. Okay? Jesus is all on board with it. I'm going to finish this out here. Okay, these are the regulations for man with a discharge. For anyone made unclean by admission of semen. So this here is more than likely, folks, is masturbation. Emission of semen for a woman and her monthly period, for a man or a woman with discharge, and for a man who has sexual relations with a woman who is ceremonial unclean. Okay, folks, when I hear the word sexual, this here is with another woman. Okay, it's not with a wife. Okay, how often do you hear the word love combined with the action of sexual intercourse in the Bible? Not too many times, folks. Not too many times. It does say that Adam laid down with his wife. Adam knew his wife, and Adam made love to his wife. Okay? So here we got all this that's going on unclean. Now back to these entities here because of evil. Evil in Isaiah, that one 9:6. I know that everybody knows this that's been at my channel, but I have a few new subscribers and they don't know this. But if they watch a lot of my content, this is repetitious material. I go over it over and over and over because you need to understand the creation story. It's the most important thing that's taking place. It's a very fascinating, it's amazing when you're in this level of spiritual understanding, when the Spirit places a download on you, and that's what happens. You see, there's a difference between the mind and the brain. Okay? The mind is the conscience. The mind is where all conscience comes from. The brain is simply a conduit. The brain is simply an antenna. And the brain connects us to these planes of existence. And the brain, which is controlled by the mind, is what animates our bodies. Let me say that again. The brain is the mind, is not the mind. The mind is what controls the body, okay? Controls the brain. They're two different. The mind is spiritual. The brain is flesh, okay? And that's important to understand. So now you understand that the mind, this is the mind right here. Yes, sir. That is the mind. This is the mind that moves everything in place. This mind here created other minds, intelligent minds, divine beings, divine entities with great power. You understand? This is why everybody gets lost and thinks that the supreme being here created what you see out there. The supreme being didn't create what's out there, what you see in this world. The supreme being gave this entity, which is a divinity, a divinity, a divinity, a divine entity, something that is divine for divine purpose, which is made of the supreme creator, was given permission in Revelations 13:15 to breathe into the image of us. This God here in the beginning, Elohim, is creating everything in an image. If you go to John 1:4, where it says, well, 1 through 4, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Okay, he was with God in the beginning. Everything that was made was not made. Everything that was made was not made. It wasn't made. It's an illusion. Learn how to read the Bible. Okay? So Elohim, evil, here, Revelations 13:15 was given permission. Evil, Satan, a man, what I would call a hermaphrodite. Okay? This one here, when it says, let us make mankind in our image, is a divinity of the supreme being, something with extreme power, something that was given extreme knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, was saying, let us create mankind in our image. Okay? Now he's talking about flesh. That's what he's talking about. He wants to create a flesh suit. So this one here created a flesh suit. And then this here, this is where you could break off with your Anunnaki, is what they're trying to, a lot of what's going on right now. Sorry about that. The Anunnaki, okay, that's what a lot of people believe that these Elohims are. These here are also watchers. Okay, this is what you're talking about. Okay, these here people, they made this flesh suit and then they started laying down with their own creations. That's how freaking evil they are. What's mankind trying to do today? They're trying to make love dolls, aren't they? That's how sick these evil entities, these demonic beings are, man. And we in our flesh suits, we're the seed of Satan. These people that are trying to make sex dolls and stuff like this, that they're demented. Those are demons. You understand that? People that think, oh, I'd like to have one of those, you're a demon. Okay? You can't even fathom. You're so freaking lost in all this. You can't even fathom the thought of it. So the supreme created good and evil Elohim. So evil Elohim created mankind in his own image. This one here that's created in an image on the sixth day is created a man. It says specifically, then God said, let us make mankind in our image. and likeness, to rule over the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, the cattle of the land, and everything that creeps upon the face of the earth. He saw that it was good. Morning and evening passed, and it's the sixth day of creation. The sixth day of creation. Something was created in an image. Who is the image? Jesus is the image. Something that was evil, asked coming from the Supreme Spirit. Something created from the Supreme Spirit, an entity, a force, an energy force. Something evil was permitted to create a host system. Was created a host system. This is why this one here says you're not to worship any graven images. What are the graven images? How about, what are they? AGT, America's Got Talent. All those people that sit in front of those crowds. How about The Voice? Here, my favorite one right in front of your face, man. How about American Idol? Okay? The Supreme Creator is saying you're not to worship any idols. Okay, but that's what this evil one has done. He has presented you with charm. He's presented you with fun. He's presented you with circus acts. He's distracting you with magic shows. He's distracting you with prostitution, drugs, the alcohol, the bars. He's distracting you with women that lie to you. They smile to your face, but all the time they want to spit in your face. All of it. This one was permitted. Evil was permitted. Okay? This is the one that's created on the sixth day. And that there is pretty much so. 9:6, Isaiah, unto us a child is born. So a child is born, and then another son, unto us a son is given. So one is born and one is given. Okay, the one that here is born is Yeshua, or Yahweh Shai. Okay? The one that is given is Christ crucified. Okay? One is approved. The other is the lie. This one which is approved is the one that was sent to the lost sheep. Okay? This one, Christ crucified here, was sent to all the world. The problem is God, those that love the world are at enmity with God. This is why when it says that God so loved the world, that's John 3:16. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whoever believed in him shall not perish but have eternal life. That one. God so loved the world. God so loved the world. God so loved the world. Hold on. Now judgment is upon the world. This God here that created this world that we live in, this reality, this evil reality, a host system, okay? This one here is the one that loves the world. This one here is the one that says, if you love the world, then you're at enmity with the Supreme Spirit. This one here. This one here is the living God. Okay? The living God. Matthew 22:32, which tells us, I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, Jacob is Israel. I am not the God of the dead, but the God of the living. The living, the supreme up here, remember? I am not the God of the dead. The dead. The Deb. Threw me off there. The supreme is not the God of the dead. So why does Jesus want to be the God of both the dead and the living? 14:9 of Romans tells us that Jesus died and raised again on the third day so that he might, not that he will be, this is key. Go look the word might up. That he might be the Lord of both the dead and the living. This is suspect because why? Because Jesus that is the key to death and Hades. Is that cross. Okay? You believe that Jesus died on that cross, which is a man. This one here that died on the cross is not the man that's approved. Okay, I keep trying to tell you, guys, that Jesus, okay, and Yeshua are two different entities. This one was sent to the sheep. This one was sent to the world. Duality exists. This here, Jesus, is the firstborn. Jesus is the firstborn, created in an image. And an image is a phantom. A phantom is a ghost. Jesus Christ died on the cross and he gave up the ghost. The ghost is the spirit of the dead. Jesus wants to be the Lord of both the dead and the living. John's vision at Patmos, John falls at Jesus' feet and Jesus places his hand upon his shoulders and says, do not be afraid, for I was dead and now I am living forever and ever. And I hold the key to death and Hades. Why doesn't Jesus hold the keys to life? Because duality exists. Duality exists, and it tells us so. It tells us, okay, the one that's created in Genesis 1:26 and 27 is not the same that is created in Genesis 2:7. And then Eve was created in Genesis 21 and 22. Okay? This here is the first man. It is the first born. The first man created over all creation. The first man, Adam. The first man, Adam. Okay? This one here is the second man Adam. No, you ain't never heard any shit like that before. And this is confirmed in 15:45 of Corinthians, which says the first man, Adam. Okay, the first man, Adam, became a living being. The last man, Adam, a life-giving spirit. You remember when I said earlier we had the Creator, the Supreme, and then we had here down Elohim, and then down here we have the masses, okay? The Supreme Creator, Elohim, okay? And then I said one was good, the other was evil, and what was evil was permitted, okay? This here evil is the first man, Adam. The first man, Adam, became a living being, which is a lie, because the first man, Adam, is created in an image of God. The biblical definition for image is a phantom. A phantom is a ghost. A ghost is the spirit of the dead. The Supreme Creator allowed evil to create a living being. Okay? And then the Supreme up here gave a command to what was good and told him to create another man. This one here is good. The second man, Adam. Everything is from the glory of the Creator. He produces everything. Okay? He ordains things. This one here has set everything in place. Everything is in motion. This plane of existence is the fabric of good and evil weaved within one another. So the first man here becomes a living being, is the one that's created in an image of God up here. Genesis 1:25. And then the last man, Adam, here is, which is this one here. This one creates a body. And this is what's key to understand. This one here, Elohim, another man, created another body. And the only difference between this one here that's evil and this one here that is good is this one here put the breath on it. And that's the difference. What God created evil, all fell away from him. God gave us a chance by bringing his spirit back into this system. That's where he was giving us all a chance. Because everybody here that was evil, you got to understand, evil, man, is Gentile. That's what evil is. And a Gentile is a jinn in flesh. Gentiled in flesh. Genies out of their bottles. Breath of life. The Spirit put the breath of life on this one. The evil, this one gave permission. The Spirit gave this one permission to create a host body. You see, this one here is the Lord of hosts. The Spirit wants us to worship his Spirit. He's not a host. A host is a body. This is why when Jesus dies on the cross and he gives up the ghost, that's why the word host is in ghost. That's why you have the letter H, because they changed it. Ghost in the other Bibles used to be spelled ghoste. Okay? Or ghost. Or gauche. The bottom line is they've changed it because they're exposing themselves. They're helping us. A ghost is a host. We are hosts for a flesh system, the living. To be alive, look, to live equals evil spelled backwards. To live is evil spelled backwards, because we're all spiritual beings. We have to dump the flesh. Okay? You have to dump the cross, because the cross is the key to death in Hades, man. If you believe in that man that died on the cross, then you are believing in flesh, not the supreme spirit, the creator, the omnipotent force. This one here is all-knowing, all-powerful, omnipotent, supreme, knows everything. This one here is what gave these here permission to do their thing. He knew that this one here would be evil. It's a perfect setup. How else are you going to teach the soul? You got to teach the soul somehow. So he created an evil plane of existence. This one here, this evil plane that we live on, this is a plane, all right? And everything that we know is a mere image, all right? And this little place right here, this would be our center of earth, what we live on. The heaven above, okay? And the abyss below, okay? And we come together in these two worlds. They're microfibers of one another. If you take one down, the entire structure of this reality that we live in falls apart. If God removed all that was evil, the government would disappear. You get that? Government, law enforcement agencies, social services, all of the you got to understand that it's us. We're the carbon footprint. And that is 6. The atomic number for carbon is 6. Okay? So it's our footprint. Also, again, mankind, I don't think I said it, also equals 666, because mankind was created on the 6th day. And now I remember I was going somewhere with that man that was created on the 6th day, when God says, let us create mankind in our image and likeness, and in the image of God he created him. He created him. Why doesn't this parable say that God created him and her, male and female? Remember what I said earlier about a hermaphrodite? Okay, that man that's created himself on the 6th day of evil is a hermaphrodite. It's a man. This is why in Genesis 5:2, this is beautiful stuff you're learning right now. It says, in the day they were created, he called them Adam. In the day they were created, male and female, he called them Adam. He called the male and a female Adam. This evil parasite here is the one that got its hands on the Bible, and it changed the scriptures. He changed the scriptures. Here we have different levels of conscience. And this is where everything comes from, is the supreme. Okay? And this is lower conscience down here. You live down here, it's all flesh. The lower conscience is flesh. Up here is spirit. Down here is flesh. The spirit wants us to worship him, his spirit. He wants you to worship what's on the other side of this veil, what you can't see. He wants you to worship the truth. He wants you to walk upright in righteousness. He doesn't want you walking contrary against his commandments. He doesn't want you worshiping a man. He wants you to realize that you're in a world, a very difficult world to navigate through, because we have so many sinners. It's what you got to understand is when it says in Jeremiah 16:19, "O Lord, you are our strength, refuge and fortress in the day of my affliction or distress." The Gentile, as I showed you earlier, the Gentile are jinn, tiled in flesh. The Gentile shall come from all ends of the earth. The question asked is why and how are the Gentiles coming from all ends of the earth? Because when the Spirit allowed this lower dimensional entity, a divinity of the Supreme Creator, to create this plane of existence here, he sent it down. And this is the one that rules. This is the host of flesh. And then he created another and he put his breath on that one. The breath of life. This one here that is evil is the ghost. This one here that's evil is the image of God. There's a difference between the image of God and that one that was formed from the dust and had the breath of life. It's that simple. The ones that are created on the sixth day of creation are the beast nations, and they're the ones that are coming from all ends of the earth to claim that we, us, the Gentile, have inherited nothing but lies from our government. Everything that we have been taught about this reality that we live in is a lie. The biggest lies ever told on the face of the earth, the first biggest lie that was ever told on the face of the earth, the biggest lie ever, is that Jesus is God. Okay, probably the second biggest lie that was ever told on the face of the earth is that the earth is a globe, which, by the way, globe equals idol worship. It's the first thing that they shove down your face when you step into a classroom, and this is why it makes it so difficult to substantiate an argument, because you're a child being taught lies from our ancestors. The earth is a globe. The earth is not a globe. The earth is flat. These are lies, the biggest lies ever told. Next one would be that we've been to the moon. Can't believe that people believe that. Huh? Also, the fourth biggest lie now. Theory of relativity. Remember, I say that because this is the Supreme Spirit here says the wisdom of the world. This is all freaking wisdom of the world right here. Is foolishness. With God. The wisdom of the world is foolishness with God. So the theory of relativity is horseshit, and then gravity. Once you understand the creation story, you realize that this plane of existence that we live on here is just an illusion. It's all created in an image. It doesn't exist. It's all spiritual. Isn't it that amazing how we can look outside and for us it appears to be material. It appears to all be so real. Well, it's nothing but the mind that creates all this. The mind. I don't know. Did I say it earlier? Remember when did I say it? Humpty Dumpty falls off the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. That there is a metaphor for mankind. The king's horses and the king's men. Okay? Couldn't put Humpty together again. So this is a metaphor which is telling us that no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard mankind tries to do what is right, because we have fallen away from the Supreme Creator, because we've fallen away from the Supreme Creator, mankind can never work it out. It's never going to be fixed on this plane of existence. The only way it can exist, that peace can exist on this plane of existence, is if you erase the government, because they are the ones that put all the dysfunction out there. They're the ones that create prescription drugs. They're the ones that create alcohol. They're the ones that create all the street drugs. They're the ones that create all the guns. They're the ones that create all the prostitution. They create all the lies. They're the ones that create all that is evil. If you remove all the governments from the face of this earth, and those that work for the governments from the face of the earth that commit evil crimes and don't repent, then this place would just be complete harmony. There'd be no reason at all for us to expand any more, no reason at all to grow anymore. You've just removed an evil ass population of people. Now you can take the people that really do need the help and put them in these empty, vacant buildings and homes across America and everything, and people can start doing what's right, and we don't have to worry about money anymore, and you don't have to worry about, we come together as a community and we all take care of one another and we help one another. You see, when the government said that they wanted to come in and help, guess what? Check it out. Give me one little second here. Give me one little second.
Oh, that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Should I say any more? I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Reagan told you right to your face, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. What other ones? Huh? I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Reagan. How about Clinton? What did Clinton say? I didn't have sexual relationships. What do you guys think? Relations with that woman. I'm sure he did. What did both Bushes say? George Bush Jr., he said, I don't need permission to go to war. Wow. He don't need permission to go to war. And then what did his dad say? We will achieve the New World Order. What is the New World Order? The New World Order is the LBGTQ&A. I need you to understand that we live in a hive of serpents. Okay? Something was given power and it created itself. A vile hermaphrodite, man. A male and female. Tells us in the Bible, man. This is where they're getting their theys and their them pronouns. 5:2. In the day they were created, he called them one man, a male and female, Adam. He created himself. Check this out, man. Okay, him equals self. Self equals individuality. Okay, individuality. Himself. That man on the sixth day of creation created himself. Properly. Self. An individual. Individual. Duality. That's the definition of him. That's the definition of him. Right there, man. So he created himself, divided entity, an individual that was created in duality. Stuff that, man. Nobody does this stuff better. Nobody breaks these parables down to help you understand duality. Because the man, what's another one? Who else? Thomas Jefferson. What did he say? He said, Christianity is the most perverted religion. This is your president that ever shown on man. How you like that? Thomas Jefferson told you that Christianity is the most perverse religion that ever showed on man. How about another one? How about this one? Nixon. I am not a crook. Oh, I think you all are fucking crooks, man. Every one of them are crooks. Why? Why are they crooks? Because remember, they rest on Jesus's shoulders. Okay, we got to tie all this in together, man. Jesus's shoulders is what the government rests on. In Isaiah, I think it was Isaiah 9, and I didn't finish it. Unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the governments, okay, shall be upon his shoulders. Remember, we were talking about Yeshua and we're talking about Jesus. In Greek, his name is Iesous. Okay? In Hebrew, his name is Yeshua or Yahushai. And then you have the New Testament that says that he's to be called Emmanuel. So how did we go from Emmanuel, if a virgin was to bear a child, then he will be called Emmanuel? How did that translation come from Emmanuel to Jesus now? And that the letter J was only 500 years old. So they just added J, and J and W are added to the English language, as well as U, the letter U. And the W was an add-on for the double U, the good you and the bad you, the flesh that fights against the soul that fights against the flesh. The soul that is evil has no spirit. This one here allowed all things, these entities, to create things in their images. What else? Any other presidents that we can think of off the top of my head that did some rotten, criminal, kind of insane stuff? Let's see. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Trump. What did Trump say? All news is fake news. Probably the only thing that any president ever said that was the truth is right there, man. All news is fake news, and he said that on what? Fox News. And Fox is 666. Sixth letter, 15th letter, 1 plus 5, 24th letter, 2 plus 4 is 6, 666. Trump told you a truth bomb right in front of your face. So all you people, silly people that believe that there's a real war and tens of thousands of people are dying over there in Ukraine, hey, buy me a ticket. I'll go over there and I'll confirm whether it's true or not. Anybody want to send me? I'll go buy a passport right now, man. You can fly me to Ukraine. You can fly me to... No, I don't even want to go to Ukraine. I'd rather go to Russia. Yeah, sit on the Russian front. I'll stand out there like these drones are showing people. Like they want to wave to somebody. Hi. Yeah. I've seen war movies that are more realistic than anything that they're showing us of a war that's taking place. In order for there to be a war where a country takes another country, you have to have forces invading in that country, okay? All those trucks that they're driving and showing you drone footage here and drone footage there, we don't know where any of that shit is. Don't you get it? They can tell you anything that they want on these devices. Unless you're confirming it yourself and you absolutely know, then you don't trust anybody to tell you anything. They're trying to manipulate their way into another war. And it's kind of funny, man. People ain't buying it this time around. I think people are starting to realize that this here is the government. Evil is the government, folks. Okay, anything else I want to talk about? Himself, individuality, confirmed in 1545, where there's two different Adams. I'm trying to show you that there's two different Adams. There's two different Moseses. There's two different Bibles. There's two different Jesus Christ. There's two different creation stories. Duality must exist. It's that simple, folks. Duality must exist. All praise and glory to the Creator, the Supreme Being that moves all things in place. May you find the truth, walk in the truth, maintain a righteous status with the Supreme Authority, the author, the writer of all things. May peace be upon you. I ask all these things in the presence of the living one. Peace. This is White Raptor News Ministries.